Hey there, have you been told you need to do a Phase II environmental site assessment to protect yourself? Are you wondering if more testing is actually going to help your deal or make it messier? Well, let's talk about what Phase IIs really are, why they're often recommended, and the most common reasons that sometimes the smartest move is not doing one. By the end of this, you'll have a clearer way to decide whether a Phase II actually moves your deal forward or just adds cost, time, and stress. Hi there, I'm Doug Ruhlin from RMA, your environmental experts. We help people make common sense decisions about environmental risk without blowing up their deals. Hey, one quick thing right up front just to set expectations. Here at RMA, we're environmental consultants and we're part of this puzzle all the time. But to be clear, here at RMA, we're not lawyers and we're not a law firm. So this is not legal advice and not meant to be construed as legal advice. And just because we're consultants, we're not your consultant yet. Think of this as general guidance meant for a broad audience, not a precise roadmap for every specific situation. If you want advice tailored to your specific situation, reach out to us and we'll talk you through it. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump in. First, real simple. A Phase II is when you actually start testing the property. You drill holes, you take soil, water, or vapor samples, and you find out what's actually going on in the ground. Phase IIs usually get recommended after a Phase I points out something concerning, like an old gas station, a dry cleaner, a factory, or signs of contamination. And sure, testing sounds smart. Get answers, reduce uncertainty. But here's what people miss. Once you start testing, you can't undo it. And sometimes the better move is to pause and use what you already know. So here are the most common situations where people choose not to do a Phase II. The first one is easy. When you already know you're walking away. If the Phase I shows something you're not willing to deal with, and that's a hard stop for you, then more testing isn't going to help. You're done. Phase II won't change your mind, it just wastes money, time, and creates a report that will stick around long after you leave the site. Another situation is where people accidentally create a mess for the seller. In some states, certain findings have to be reported to regulators. Now picture this, you order a Phase II without clearly explaining that risk to the seller. Suddenly they are forced to report something that they weren't prepared for. Regulators get involved, the deal slows down, and the seller is not thrilled with you. Not because contamination exists, but because you created a headache they didn't understand or agree to yet. The next one is a big one. When the Phase I gives you leverage. If the Phase I flags possible contamination, one of two things are usually true. Either everyone already suspected it and the risk is already baked into the price or the deal, or it's new information that gives you leverage to go back to the seller and ask for a different price structure or a different deal structure. In either case, jumping straight to the Phase II often doesn't change the outcome. It just adds cost and risk. Here's another one. When a Phase II is going to endlessly snowball. Some sites have been used for industrial reasons for over 100 years. If you start testing, you're not answering one question, you're opening a huge can of worms. One sample leads to another, and another, and another. Suddenly you're chasing issues that don't actually affect why you're buying the property in the first place. Short-term ownership matters too. Maybe your next venture isn't to actually operate a business on the site, it's just a quick flip. If you're not planning to own the property long-term, and the risk is disclosed and managed in the deal, deep testing might not be worth it, especially if you won't be the one dealing with cleanup years down the road. We also see situations where the use and the problems haven't changed in decades. Everyone knew what the site's issues were, and the Phase I confirmed it. A Phase II is probably just going to double confirm the obvious. And that extra confirmation still costs money and can still trigger reporting and delays. And here's the most important one. If you're not ready to act on bad news, don't go looking for it. If you're not ready to renegotiate or delay closing, deal with regulators, spend money on cleanup, or walk away, then a Phase II can leave you worse off than before. Now, not doing a Phase II doesn't mean you're ignoring risk. Ignoring risk is pretending nothing could go wrong. Being smart is using the Phase I to decide your next move, whether it's proceeding with a Phase II, renegotiating the deal, or simply walking away altogether. At RMA, we help people think through the choice every day. Sometimes testing is the right answer, but sometimes the smarter move is using what you already know to protect yourself. If you're trying to decide whether a Phase II actually helps your deal, reach out to us. A short conversation before you start drilling can save you a lot of time, money, and stress.